Hello, everybody. My name's Josh.
I'm Michael.
This is your buddy's podcast.
All right, let's get into it. So we're talking about the NBA Finals first. Crazy game.
Yeah.
Game 5 was definitely worth watching.
It was super fun to watch, but I don't know. I'm pretty torn about the whole KD thing. I fucking hate KD, but it's kind of sad, especially if it's torn. He's out all of next season. Like, not only does it ruin like KD's dreams and everything, but like that could ruin a fan base that really deserve to have a winning record.
Like the Knicks.
Yeah, exactly my point. Like, that's what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it might have just stole their whole season away, and it's kind of sad because I know if that happened to us, the Pistons, I would literally be so upset. I would probably cry. Like, It's so sad.
Yeah, it definitely stinks to see that. He was playing really well when he was in there, and the game wasn't like out of hand by any means when he was playing it. It would have still been really fun to watch. Boogie obviously came in after the injury and played really well, scoring like 7 points in like the first 5 minutes he was in or something. Like, he played really well.
Yeah, I mean, 6 for 8, that's really good. And, he went 1 for 4 on his free throws, though, which is really bad.
Yeah,
Kind of
can't be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, out of the Warriors, they pretty much got a good showing on everyone. I mean, Curry and Clay both shot kind of suspect, but, I mean, they won, so.
Yeah, they clutched up at the end.
I was going to say, you got 31 and 26, and, I mean, 9 of those points came in the last 3 minutes or whatever?
Minute and a half. Clay with the first one, Curry with the second one, and third was Clay with the game winner. And speaking about the game winner, if we talk about that last possession a little bit,
Wow.
Kawhi Leonard making the right move by passing out of a double team. Some people might say not to, but
Yeah.
that's just bad basketball if you don't pass out of a double
It's
team.
bad basketball. I want to see better basketball of where, they get a really good chance where they got everyone else on one side of the court and then Kawhi on the other side, so he can just ISO one-on-one. I feel like it was kind of, I don't even know if it was like a play. I don't know. I didn't like what they did.
Yeah, it was honestly,
Like,
Nick Nurse showed his young coaching experience at the end of the game, calling timeout after they're up by 6, and the Warriors only had 1 timeout left in the game. I mean, the Warriors were on their heels, and then you call the timeout, and they are able to come back and take the lead.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just feel like the play they designed, it felt like it couldn't have ended in Kawhi's hands, really. Like, you know what I mean? Because if you're taking the ball, obviously they're going to double you at the top. And that's what happened. Which I know Van Fleet took it up, but he gave it to Kawhi right away. So.
And,
interesting.
also, it looked like they were running some sort of play with Lowry and Gasol in the post, which allowed Iguodala to help. If you just put them all on the three-point line, Kawhi can ISO. If they double, someone's open, And I just didn't like, how they ran that, and it gave Iguodala the opportunity to double, and then obviously Draymond with the awesome block at the end. I don't know if Kyle Lowry's making that shot, but
that's what I'm saying. I mean, at first glance, it didn't look like Dre got any of it. So I mean, even now, Kyle's still getting shit on Twitter.
Yeah,
I kind of feel bad for him because he gets enough shit as it is because he's Kyle Lowry. So that kind of sucks. I mean, the amount that Draymond got on it and how far he missed, it kind of seemed like it wasn't going to go in, but I guess you never know.
Yeah,
you can't really say. So, I mean, I kind of wish we could run that back and just see what happens in a different universe or whatever. But, I mean, do you think the Warriors have a chance at this? I mean, I don't know. It's tough.
I give him a chance. I mean, if Boogie continues to play like that, like 6 of 8, obviously the free throws will improve because he's a good free throw shooter.
Yeah.
If he can take over some of that scoring load for them, it's going to be a big deal. I just think you still have to go back to Toronto again, and Kawhi played as bad as Kawhi played that game, even though he had that spree where he scored 10 straight points. He still, at the end of the game, missed a lot of shots that could have, he could have taken better shots.
Yeah, and what it came down to, in my opinion, it was pretty much 2 superstars against 1, and, usually 2 are going to prevail. So, I mean, it's hard if you're taking every single clutch shot. So, I mean, I think it just wore on him. I mean, 2 from 7 from the 3-point. That's, really bad, obviously. That's uncharacteristic from him. And 9 and 24 as well. That's not good either. But you also have to say, it's not like Clay shot that much better than that. And Curry, I mean...
And that's the thing, if that's the worst game we've seen Kawhi Leonard play this whole playoffs, and Kawhi Leonard plays his worst game, and you still only lose by 1 point with a chance to win it at the end,
Yeah,
That's a big deal to me.
we can't forget, though, I know it seemed like one of the worst games, and that's obviously because of offense, but, I mean, he was still killing it. I mean, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I mean,
No, he was definitely doing other things, and that
Yeah.
10 points without a miss in the fourth quarter was crazy to see. It was awesome. It was complete takeover gene by him.
he really just had a horrible third quarter. Because, like, in the first half, he didn't do good either, but I don't even know if he scored in the third quarter.
Yeah, no.
Like, it was really kind of...
Yeah, he had 1 point, I think, on a free throw. It was pretty interesting to see him do that because it's just so uncharacteristic of him. He hasn't done that at all. Kyle Lowry had a good game, which you kind of expected coming back to Toronto. Like one of the either him or Siakam was going to have a good game.
I mean,
for them to win this.
It just always makes me think, though, because, I mean, he went 8 for 16, which is, I mean, 50%, that's all right. But he went 1 from 6 from the 3. Like, if you let someone else take those 3-pointers, or, I mean, even if you hit some of them, like, it's a totally different game. I don't understand how you can go 1 for 6, man. That's horrible. I mean, Siakam, too, 0 for 4, and Siakam was getting open looks.
Yeah, as a team, they shot 25% from the 3-point line.
The only person who really shot good was Gasol.
Yeah, and they're a better 3-point shooting team than that. I mean, Leonard, before this game, was shooting 40% from the 3-point line for the finals. Like, he's a really good 3-point shooter, and that's just a bad game. And same with, like, Kyle Lowry and Danny Green. Danny Green made 6 of 9 or whatever a couple games ago. 0 for 4 from him.
Yeah. And they didn't even give him a chance at the end of the game. They just kind of sat him.
Yeah, I understand that, like, he's not shooting that well.
Yeah,
Let Powell play, but Powell's
not
not a scorer, and Danny Green's a better defender.
True. But, I mean, like, maybe he said to the coach, like, you know, I really am not feeling my shot tonight. Like,
Right.
I'm 0 for 4. I'm 2 from 7 from the field. Like, I don't want to hurt our team because Powell's probably going to hit more than I am right now.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if something like that conversation, or maybe the coach said that to him, or something along those lines, but I'd be super surprised if something like that didn't go down, just because, I mean, he feels like a pretty big part of this team.
Yeah.
Always starts and stuff, so for him not to play like that for, like, such a long stretch at the end of the game, something must have happened. I almost thought he was hurt for a second.
Yeah, same. Because, no offense to Norman Powell, but you're not Patrick McCaw, the best player in the league.
I mean, really, though, so what the Raptors have to do, I think, is start Patrick McCaw and just play him all the minutes.
If he plays 48 minutes, they've been saving him for this reason, so he can play 48 minutes and win the game.
I was going to say, I mean, 1 minute, 0 turnovers.
0 turnovers, didn't miss a shot once again. It's pretty remarkable.
On a real note, though, Van Fleet actually played pretty damn good.
No, Van Vliet did do really good for them, especially just harassing defense, too.
And, like, whenever they need a bucket, he's there. Like, he'll always hit it.
Even though he missed a couple open ones, but then, again, like you're saying, he hit those clutch ones. He's got that gene.
How did you feel? I mean, I saw a lot of flack on Twitter for the refs about them making bad calls, but I don't think they made one bad call in the stretch in the last couple minutes.
I think a lot of people are upset about, the goaltending call,
But that's
that's the right call. The ball, by the rules, the ball has to be outside the cylinder, and a small portion of the ball, albeit a small portion, was inside the cylinder on the replay.
And I mean, especially from, like, when you're overturning something, you have to have, like, very, like,
conclusive
evidence. Yeah, and, like, only, like, all the other angles except one looked like it was way over. So, I don't know. I feel like you gotta call it that way. If you don't call it that way, it's almost favoring the Warriors. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the call on the court.
Yeah, and, like, you can't be mad at the refs for, like, you have to call those. Like, that Boogie screen at the end. Like, you have to call that.
Exactly. Boogie threw his shoulder into Lowry.
Yeah, especially when it's, like, that size difference, too. Like, he didn't have to do that. Like, I think it was Curry will get around you, and, I mean, you'll make the right play. Like,
exactly, and Curry just made the shot with Lowry following him, because on a play a minute earlier, Curry came around that 3-point, and Boogie didn't get the screen him that time, but Curry still got the shot off and made it while contested. So you just got to trust your team there. Boogie making a bonehead mistake that could have cost them the game. And I think the reason the Raptors lost is because of coaching. I think you look at Kawhi Leonard playing bad, but then he's picked up by Serge Ibaka playing really well, Lowry shooting way better than usual. But the coaching came down to it when you're playing Norman Powell 12 minutes.
I mean, I'm not even that mad about that. I'm more mad about that last play. Like, we shouldn't act like, I mean, it could have went either way. You know what I'm saying? Like, some different things happen, and I mean, they lost by one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't think Nick Nurse necessarily did a bad job.
No, but it definitely was I think the determining reason
Yeah.
they lost.
It looked like they were confused on that last play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And they still got an open shot they got an open shot. It just happened.
Draymond made a defensive player of the year type play, and that's
exactly.
why,
And it's just, there's such a size difference between Kyle. That's like me shooting it. So, yeah, I mean, it just didn't work out for him. I think they're going to pull it away, though. I don't see the Warriors winning 2 more, especially without KD.
And going back to Toronto one more time.
Yeah.
My prediction's looking real good right now, Josh.
What'd you say?
Raptors in 6.
Wait, don't they go back to...
They go back to Golden State, but I mean, Raptors have won twice there already this series, so...
Yeah, I mean...
Not much to say about that one.
I hope it goes to 7. Just for everybody's sake, because I want the Warriors to be able to win at least one more without KD, you know what I mean? Because that's a better look for them. But
right,
I want the
agree with
Raptors to pull it out in the end. So, I mean, overall, though... Sorry, I keep getting back to this. Do you think KD, did he rupture it? Did he tear it?
From the way the GM responded when he got the news, and the way that it looked like there was a gunshot that happened to KD in his calf. I don't know if anyone's seen the video on Twitter. His whole calf shook. That seems like something like your Achilles tore, ruptured, and it exploded.
Yeah, something in your leg happened.
It didn't. It's not a small tear.
A snap almost. It looked like something let go.
Especially when you have a huge tendon like your Achilles. If that ruptures, it just...
gross, man. I hate that. That's such a bad injury. I feel bad for him. I hate KD, and I still feel bad for him.
Yeah, KD, obviously a lot of people don't like him, but you still gotta feel bad for.
What do you think about those fans, man?
That just it just wasn't cool.
I saw a lot of Warriors fans, saying how disrespectful that is, though. But I do want to point out, unless I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure the Warriors fans clapped when Kawhi got injured by Zaza. I mean,
check me
on that.
It wasn't to the same extent as the whole stadium erupting in cheers when KD went down.
Yeah.
But it's classless.
I think they just got caught in the moment too.
I agree.
Because when he got injured, it almost felt like that's game.
Yeah,
called game.
Exactly. They're like, let's go.
Yeah.
We got this championship. I see where they're coming from, caught in the emotion. You might not like KD. Put in a similar situation. If I'm the Pistons versus the Warriors in that same situation, I don't think I would, but
no.
Getting caught in the moment.
That's the thing, though. In that split second, no one expected that to happen. In that split second, me personally wouldn't be thinking about how his life was just ruined for the next year. I'm just thinking my team's gonna win. Once you think, it's if you think about it for 5 seconds, you realize this is actually super horrible.
Right.
He's a human being. I've heard a lot of players come out and say that. I think everyone realizes they're human beings. You just get caught in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when Dre always apologizes for yelling at the refs, but he still does it every time because he gets caught in the moment.
Yeah, it's something, it's not an excuse, but it kind of at least makes sense to why they did it. I think a lot of those fans felt bad after they did it, especially when their own team is telling them to be quiet.
Yeah.
I like how Drake was very
he
respectful to KD,
yep.
And he was obviously visibly upset. It wasn't fun to see. I don't think anyone liked it. It's one thing when KD he went down with a calf injury early in the playoffs, and it was just a calf strain, so he was out. He could miss the finals, but he was fine for next season. He was fine contract wise. He would have still been fine. It's one thing if that happens and you're like, all right, that's cool. But I don't have to play against KD. It's another thing when something like this happens.
I mean, piggybacking off KD being out, then, so do you think this is done? Do you think that Raptors take him next game in 6?
Yeah, I think the Raptors take him next game in 6, and I just don't see Kawhi Leonard, especially with less defenders on him. KD is not an elite defender, but he's a good defender, and there's just less people to guard him now. Less people to bother him. He's gonna play better.
Point. I mean, I see what you're saying. It's a good point. I just think the Warriors take one more, and I think home court advantage is going to be super important for the Raptors in Game 7. I think that's what's going to give them the edge, and I think they're going to take it in 7. So I'm super excited to see that, but would you like to move on?
Yeah, and I do want to mention that we're having technical difficulties with our TV right now.
We'll have it up next time.
We'll have it up next time for sure.
Let's talk about the USA women's soccer team. This isn't so much even what happened. It's kind of an opinion piece, this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you guys saw, they absolutely murdered Thailand. It wasn't even close.
13-0.
13-0. And what made it even worse is I think they went into halftime 3-0 and they scored the other 10 and a half. So that's pretty embarrassing. 10 goals and a half. I personally feel like that's not a super good look. It's just kind of disrespectful. I mean, I've been playing sports my whole life, and I feel like once you've got a team beat, you don't have to do it. And if you are going to score those goals, don't celebrate. Do kind of like a Germany thing against Brazil where, like, I mean, they weren't celebrating crazy after that 7 goal, So, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's good for USA women's soccer, but I just kind of feel bad for those Thailand players. Like, I bet they're probably not getting paid that much from their home country. So, it's just, I mean, they got embarrassed. They're probably going to have to go back home now. Because, I mean, after a defeat like that, I know it's still the group stage, but they're probably going to get knocked out.
Mm-hmm. Especially if it comes down to goal differential. Like,
yeah.
That's why I understand, like, why they didn't stop scoring. But it is, I don't like the continued celebration.
So excessive, though. 13 goals. Like, that's unheard of. That's like a football score.
No, it's not common whatsoever. To be fair, like the last 6 goals came after the 74th minute.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 minutes, they scored 6 goals really fast. It's not like the coach had time to like, okay, there's 10 minutes left in the game.
Yeah,
we're up by so much.
Soccer's a little different in a way too that you don't call timeout really and get a chance to like regroup and talk about it. You just kind of have to play on because there's not really any stoppage. So I totally get that too. I mean, like, what do you do? I mean, even if you don't want to score anymore, what do? You can't really just stop shooting,
Especially,
you gotta play your game.
Alex Morgan was going for a record.
Yeah.
She tied the record with 5. Like, that is something. Like, for example, the Suns, even when Devin Booker, when he dropped 70, they kept him in the game even though they were losing by a lot because they wanted him to go for however many points he can. It was kind of like a career thing.
It's just always different when countries are involved, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I get beat playing for the Knicks by 70, it feels way worse if I get beat playing for the U.S. national team.
Yeah. I agree with that because there's national pride,
yeah,
along with your personal pride and everything else.
Exactly, and I feel like it's just more embarrassing. Especially, I don't know. In my opinion, it just feels way more embarrassing. But I don't want to stick on that for too long. It was just, I mean, I'm proud of the U.S. women's. I hope they win it again. That'd be really cool.
They're looking really dominant.
I mean, yeah, I don't know why the boys can't do that, but we'll see what happens. Alex Morgan is an absolute beast. She's looking like Messi and Ronaldo out there, so it's super interesting.
Yeah, she's dominating the competition for sure.
Yeah. So Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, so we didn't get to talk about after Game 5 yet. So Game 5 and Game 6 have happened since the last time we talked about them.
Yeah.
Game 5 was just really gross by St. Louis. The dirty hits, the refs missing stuff, the game-winning goal being off a penalty.
I think we can talk about Game 5, actually. You can look it up, I'm pretty sure. Oh.
It got cut down.
Yeah. Something like that. So we talked about it.
It was technical difficulties cut it from our show.
Yeah, we need to figure out technical.
Anyways, so yeah, just a little gross seeing that by those players.
Especially in hockey, like, I don't care if you're going to be a little chippy, but when the other team scores and wins off of it, that's when it's like, oh my, like, come on, like.
Yeah.
I don't, like, I mean, you can fight someone, so, like, it's a little different than, like, basketball, but, I mean, you could lose the playoffs off of a dirty play like that. Like, that just seems ridiculous to me.
Especially, it's one thing if they miss a trip call, and it's just a missed call, and nothing happens off of it. Goalie saves the puck, whatever. But it ended the game, and
it was so obvious.
The Bruins outplayed them.
Yeah.
They had way more shots, which was the opposite of what it's been in the past.
It was just so blatant, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. I hated it. Like, I don't know how they missed it. I really don't get it. And I don't know hockey that well, but to me it looked like very obvious. He just took out his leg. Like,
yeah.
Game 6, though?
So Game 6, I did think the Bruins, after getting cheated out of a game like that, were going to come back and win. And they did. The next game is going to be pretty interesting to see for sure.
I'll say they didn't just win; they smacked them.
Yeah, they dominated, and rightfully so. After getting cheated like they did, they came out and showed that they were the better team. And I think that's kind of starting to show that the Bruins are just the better team in this series.
Yeah, but I could still see, like, I don't know who's going to take this. I'm really excited to watch it tomorrow. It's going to be so interesting.
It's going to be very interesting. It's the best part about sports are game sevens, you know, and I
Absolutely.
love the fact that this got there.
Because there's so much build up. Like there's like so many storylines in this. Like
The Dave Portnoy thing
Char getting his jaw broken
and getting cheap shot in the face.
Game 5 being stolen off of a cheap shot. Like there's a lot in this. So I think Game 7 is gonna be super electric.
You're going to get an emotion-packed game with players playing their hearts out. They're not. The best players are going to play a lot of minutes, and you're going to get a lot of good hockey out there.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what happens, and I'm taking the Bruins in this game. I initially said I had St. Louis.
Yep.
I've
I've got the Bruins as well.
But just the way that the series has gone, and just everything that led up to it, I don't even want St. Louis to win, especially with how they played in Game 5 anymore. So
Plus, Dave Portnoy, he got assaulted, which is
Assault?
just a horrible thing to watch. He
Yeah.
could have been hurt. You know, it almost felt like Malice at the Palace type thing.
yeah, honestly, like if that happened to me, he has to have one of the strongest skulls I've ever seen. Because like
Yeah.
I would have been hospitalized for that.
Or
I
even
don't know.
just a strong neck too, like the amount of whiplash on that. It's just crazy. Fans have to stop. I mean, we got the Warriors owner, whatever.
Yeah,
pushing
that
the
needs
hell
to cut out.
I mean, Dave Portnoy, he's pretty much a player at this point. So
Leave it on the ice. Leave it on the court.
yep, or at least drop him. You know, don't hit him from behind. Let him do like some type of towel fight. It'd be super interesting. I think Dave would win. So I think that's pretty much all the Stanley Cup Finals we have to talk about.
Yep.
We're
Game
definitely-
7's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, we're gonna cover it a lot more after Game 7. But so UFC 238, super good.
So we can start off with
We'll start off with the main event, I think.
Cejudo versus Morales.
Yeah. Wow. I think. I mean, it went exactly how I thought it was. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I said if Cejudo was gonna win, he's gonna win off taking it kind of later and tiring him out. And he didn't even knock Marlon Moraes out. He pretty much just
TKO'd him.
He
You know,
was just
tired.
slumped. It looked like he was ready to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't even it was just consecutive hits. Like he didn't even hit him hard really or anything.
Yeah, we both took Moraes in that fight, but when I saw them both come out of the tunnels or whatever, and
Yeah.
get onto the octagon, I said to you, I think Cejudo is going to win this fight. He just looked more ready. I still hate that he did that bullcrap with the magic hat or whatever he came out and did.
It's just
You could like a fighter like Cejudo a lot more if he never did that.
yeah.
Talking about a person who owns 2 titles, 4th time that's ever happened or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's the 4th.
So it's sad to see that, but Cejudo did dominate that fight after the
Yeah.
first round.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the second round, he just kept hitting with those knees. It was crazy. I mean, Moraes has a hell of a chin. I think if he just maybe even conditions more, or just gets used to going that deep, because I think in his head he thought he was just gonna knock him out. That's what it seemed like to me. He's kind of throwing everything behind his punches. So he's still pretty young. He's got a lot to learn. I'm sure he'll get another swing at him. So it'll be super interesting.
Yeah, I hope our rematch would be interesting to see. I think Moraes could win in a rematch after seeing how he fought. But I do think what Cejudo said, he still thinks of him as being way lighter than him and everything else. Cejudo showed that he can fight with the best of the best,
Absolutely.
and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, it also goes towards his coaching a lot. I mean, he had such a good game plan. He knew what he needed to do. He needed to use his wrestling. I mean, that's how he won at the end. He got him down, and he just hammer fisted him. So I think he did a really good job because I didn't see him winning in the first round like that. So it was awesome. Really good fight. Let's talk about Valentina versus Jessica Ai.
For sure.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I felt bad for the girl.
That was gross.
We did predict this, didn't we? I think I said round 3, but she ended up knocking her out in round 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was just an awesome kick. And she went low so many times in the first round. She went high from the start of the second round, and she just didn't see it coming.
That's what I really liked about Cormier announcing. He knows so much about it, and he explained that they were showing how she's been going low the whole fight, and then that high kick just surprised her because she went to block low
And it wasn't even a super, you know what I mean? The girl was already low, so it was just such good aim. She hit her right where she needed to. It's just precision. She's fun to watch, man. 17-3. I hope her and Amanda Nunes run it back one day. That would be super interesting.
It's gross to see that, but it's also why
Yeah.
a lot of people watch UFC is to see those knockouts. I just didn't like that she took so long to get up.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, it always sucks to see it. it's always so exhilarating when it happens, but then like right as soon as it happens, you know, like 5 seconds after, I'm always worried about the fighter. It's like the same thing a couple weeks ago with Jimmy Manuwa. Same kind of type of knockout, like head kick.
Yeah.
Whole Tony Ferguson down Cerrone. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a war. I wish it would have went to the 3rd round. I think Ferguson pulled it away.
Ferguson was winning the fight. It just sucks that he.
I had it 1-1 though. I had
No.
First round.
Yeah, it just. But the way the fight was going,
Yeah.
the second round was
His
in
punches
his favor.
were just. I mean, they just like looked like they were landing harder, and I think a lot of that is. I mean, Donald Cerrone has a hard punch, but Tony Ferguson is so good at like rolling with his punches and taking his punches that like he just doesn't get it hurt as bad as anybody else. That was super fun to watch.
It just sucks how it ended.
Yeah, I mean they were both so respectful. Though. It could have sucked so much worse. Like they made the best out of bad situations.
I really respect how Ferguson handled it.
Yeah.
He was just so disappointing to win because obviously the cheap shot, which it seems like he didn't mean to do it. I don't know.
It was still super late. But
It was why he had to blow his nose.
But yeah, he didn't hit him in the eye. So I mean, Cowboy is such a warrior though that he's not going to care about that. Like you know what I mean? Like I mean, he might even still have a title run left, and we'll see what happens. Especially on a loss like that, it's not like he got. I mean,
dominated.
He probably won that first round, and you know it's kind of inconclusive. Like I know it goes down as a loss, but it's just about inconclusive. So it was super interesting. That's the type of fight I like, where it's back and forth like that.
I like how Ferguson also said that if he wants to run it back, he'll run it back.
Yeah, which is super respectful. But I think I want Tony Ferguson to go beat up Khabib, and then they can.
Yeah, Khabib. I don't like that guy at all.
Yeah, piece of shit. But Jimmy Rivera and Peter Yan. So we were actually like chirping this Yan guy so bad because he looks like he's built like a 12-year-old girl. But I mean, he was awesome. He was so like slick and like he was really good with his motions, and he just outclassed Jimmy Rivera, which is that's a feat.
Yeah, I think it was surprising to everyone to see Yan do that. He's a younger fighter, hasn't been in the UFC as long, so you just not a lot of film on him, not a lot of time watching what he does. But he surprised me for sure. I did not expect him to win, and he did just win the fight the whole way. I mean, going in the 3rd round, Rivera knew he needed a knockout. So
yeah, and it's super interesting too because like Rivera landed more, but it was just the way Yan was piecing him up. I mean, he knocked him down in first and second. So I mean, if you're gonna do that, you're pretty much guaranteed to win unless you get knocked out. So I'm you know, that bantamweight's starting to grow on me a little bit. Those smaller guys, they're fun to watch. Was Aljamain Sterling? That was super fun.
That guy,
to watch.
Aljamain Sterling in the prelims was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that guy's cool. I just don't know where he goes from him because he got knocked out so bad by Moraes, who just lost to the champ now. So it's kind of a weird situation for him. Maybe he'll get a second go at Moraes now. You know what I'm saying? He just won, Moraes lost. So
yeah, so it's like it is an interesting situation there for sure.
Yeah, and then so we both that heavyweight fight. We both had the Tuivasa guy winning.
Yeah,
he actually kind of got pieced up. In our defense, though, the site that we were on for stats were like 2 inches off, which kind of makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It said he was 5'9", but he ended up being 5'11", so it was only a 2-inch difference, and only a 9-pound difference too. So they're really almost the same size. I mean, that dude's 18-2 now. That's kind of a huge deal.
Yeah, and Tai Tuivasa again 8-2. Like he was 8-1 at the time.
So
both pretty new and fighters. I think Tuivasa will get better. He didn't look like awful that fight at all by any means. I think he'll get better to learn from that fight. Move on.
Yeah, it was a good fight. It was just a good card in general. I wasn't really let down by any of the fights.
The whole, again, going back to the ESPN Plus thing and then the pay-per-view, that was annoying to set up earlier on, too.
Yeah, but I mean, it worked better than I thought it was gonna, I guess. Like, we didn't have too many problems when we were on bad internet. It's just annoying, and I think it's hurting the UFC. So I think eventually they'll figure that out, though. Like, why can't you have both? Or like, why don't if you have ESPN Plus, you should maybe get like a $10-$15 discount. You know, something along those lines. But or at least be able to maybe order it off ESPN on the cable.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
make it more accessible.
Because we're young people and we still had trouble. Like, I mean, I know Brandon Schaub, he knows what he's doing. He still had trouble. So imagine if you're a 50-year-old, like.
Yeah.
You'll have even more trouble.
Yeah, so, like if my mom was trying, like she's not gonna watch it, but there was no way she would be able to get that fight.
Yeah, so that's really all I've got for UFC 238. You have anything else you want to say for today?
Not much for today. In the future, coming up, I'll be traveling a little bit, so we're gonna have to do some conference call type stuff.
Yeah, so we'll either have we'll figure it out. We're gonna still get some videos out. We might maybe do a couple solos. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tell us how you feel about that. I just don't, the whole solo thing, I don't think people would enjoy it very much.
Yeah, we're gonna try to maybe get FaceTime on the screen, something that you guys can still hear both of us go back and forth.
Because that's most of what, podcasts are, back and forth. So.
Right. And let us know anything that you want us to cover, we'll cover.
Yeah.
Leave in the comments.
Or just text us, if you know us. Hit us our DMs, hit the account, DM. And let us know about the TV too. How important is it to you? Because we have a little disagreement. So, all right.
See you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Bye.